So, like I said before, entire libraries have been filled up with objection handling and closing the sale. It's like it's a field of study. I must have read at least 20 books about closing sales. Closed thousands of sales, high ticket, low ticket, everything in between. And I'm here to sort of give you the rundown on what actually works, because you can be very scientific or say very autistic about this. You can make this into the whole science. If you don't do a couple things and you do a couple other things, you'll be absolutely fine. Because like you said before, if you do the qualification process right and you do the presentation part right, there shouldn't be that many objections, and closing the sale should be quite straightforward, not extremely hard. It shouldn't be like, wrestling a crazy bull or something. It should be quite straightforward, easy. Like they want to close the sale because they're excited about it. You're the guy to do it, etc. So the most often made mistake that I do not want you to make under any circumstance, and everyone does this sort of instinctually, so do not do this. Do not, at the end of your presentation, take a breather, sit back, and say, so, what do you think? I see salespeople do this all the time. It's the worst thing you can do. Do not lean back and say, what do you think? Because what they will say, inevitably, people are conditioned to do this, they will say, let me think about it. Because they think they should say that. Like, if someone says, what do you think? Well, this is a perfect way for me to push off this decision, not make it now. Now let me think about it. Yeah, that's the ticket. Let me do that. Don't do that. Don't take a breather. It should be smooth. There shouldn't be a speed bump. It should be a smooth process from your presentation into the close. This starts with you. It shouldn't be a big thing for you, and then it's not a big thing for them. Now, there's two different sort of paths here. If there is no paperwork that has to be done, you can sort of slide into the close easily. If there is paperwork that has to be done, so they have to, I don't know, sign a contract or agree to terms or whatever, best way to do it is to handle it right then and there. So when I did this in person, obviously I brought the paperwork with me. I never ever say contract, by the way. It's always paperwork, never a contract. Contract sounds like something you sign with Satan, and paperwork sounds innocuous. So we do paperwork. Anyway, let's say it's a process where this is necessary. I would take out the paperwork, say, here's your copy. Let's go through this real quick so you know how this works. That's innocent, right? That's easy, right? So let's go through this. And then I would go through it. I would script out how I would go through it. It would be pretty straightforward. And at the end, I would go into the actual close, which is very simple. Like for me, used to be, I would take my pen, have the piece of paper in front of me, say, okay, so your name is, and then I would spell it out, Johnson. So J-O, okay, yeah. And then I would go from there and start filling out the paperwork. And then I would slide it over to them. Say, if you could sign there, we can get everything started. Now, if it's a digital environment, it's a little different. You can either close them on the spot, basically say, okay, we went through this. If you could, give your okay, give your green light, we can get started. And then they can do that right then and there. This is the close that I've closed thousands of deals with, by the way. It's very simple. It's like, okay, so next step is if you can green light this, if you can sign here, if you can do this, or you can send me these data, or let me go over the stuff that I need from you to get started. And then they give it to you. So, okay, let's get the show on the road. Let's do this. Let's open the file. Let's get going. It's as simple as that. If you don't make it into a big deal, it's not a big deal. If they give you an objection, you can circle back, just like we said in the objection handling series. But ideally, there shouldn't be an objection because you've handled everything up to now. So, but if there is an objection, say, okay, I get it, completely understand. Anything else that is keeping you from handling this right now? If there's not, we isolate the objection, we go into it, solve it, then we move on. Okay, so what I need from you right now to get this started is XYZ, and that's about it. Also, in terms of closing the sale, it's always good to sort of immediately send them an email, send them something that you're going to get started. So let's say they say yes, either they sign the paperwork or they just say, yeah, let's get started. You can just send them the email right then and there because you're on the call anyway, right? Or you have your phone with you, whatever. You can say it should be a standard template email. Say, hey, welcome on board. Glad to have you with us. What we need from you right now is XYZ, and let's get started. And then they send it to you, and you're off to the races. Don't make it into a big deal. Don't take a breather. Just tell them what they need to do and walk them through the process, and you will close a lot of sales way easier than you expected.